Hello there. Quite some time ago, I started working on splines inside the Stride editor. And in this video, I want to show a special kind of spline component that benefits from the spline inside the editor, namely the Spline Decorator. The Spline Decorator component, which I've attached to the same object where there is also a spline component present, and this Spline Decorator component, it allows you to distribute prefabs evenly or at a random interval along the spline. So let's see how that looks. So the first thing that we need to do is give it some decorations, the objects that are allowed to be chosen to be instantiated across the spline. So I'm just going to use this streetlight prefab here. I didn't make this streetlight, I just found it as a free model online. And all I have to do now is pick a spline component. And once that is done, the only thing that I need to do now is set the interval or amount. So let's start with the amount. Let's say I'm going to give it 20. Then we're going to get 20 streetlights on this spline evenly distributed. We also have an interval option, which means that simply every 1 or 2 units, depending on what we give it, it will update this directly inside the editor. So the interval here has a random value, which means in this case we go from a value between 2 and 2, which means always the same value, but we could also just easily set this to, let's say, 8, and now we get a completely random distribution of our decorations. And as far as the decorations go, right now it just picks the first entity in the list, but this could easily just as well be randomized or just swap every new value and just instantiate that. And we can see that if we do this way, we can just get some really cool results. Let's just up that up a little bit so that we get more items across the spline. I mean, why not? And the cool thing is that if we start dragging these nodes in the scene, then the decorator will update this for us as well. And the longer your spline gets, the more objects that will be instantiated across the spline. And that's all for now for the prototype Spline Decorator component in the Stride editor.